Despite claims that 146 petroleum tankers have arrived at Suleja Depot following the recession of the Lokoja flood, petrol scarcity is still biting hard in the Federal Capital Territory. For over 4 weeks, the FCT and its environs have been placed with lingering petrol scarcity, a development authorities blame on massive flooding in Kogi State. But also here in Lagos, petrol shortage has reportedly begun as long queues emerge in some filling stations just yesterday. Reports also suggest some filling stations, especially independent marketers, did not have the product to sell to motorists and other consumers, while those with commercial stocks increased their prices, ranging from 200 naira to 250 naira per litre, depending on the location. Well, let's confirm these developments as I'm being joined live in the studio by the Southwest Zonal Chairman of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Mr. Dele Tajudeen. Thank you so much. It's good to have you on the show. It's been a while. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, Tolu, good afternoon.
Yes, fuel scarcity is here again. From Abuja, we heard it was the flood and all of the challenges of moving the trucks there. But yesterday in Lagos, it's becoming like the same game. We're seeing queues surface in many filling stations across the metropolis. What is happening? Tell us, what is the true state of things in the market?
Yes, good afternoon, viewers. Truly, well, it is crystal clear that scarcity is looming, and when it starts in Lagos and Abuja, gradually it's going to escalate to the other part of the country. Well, as you all know, that I've said it here before, that the NNPC depots, especially across the southwest states, none of them is functioning. Although I agree with the management of NNPC because they have gone commercial, that the incessant attack on pipeline, which has resulted into, loss of products along the pipeline, made them to put a stop for it for a while. But however, I think there should be another option by NNPC to give us products because especially we independent marketers, we rely solely on NNPC supplies. And the only alternative we have now is the tank farms in Lagos axis. Of course, not just today, before this time, our members have been persevering because the rate at which we are buying the product is on the high side. But we still persevere to manage the little margin that we are having. But beginning last week, we saw an upsurge in the price of petroleum products, especially PMS. And it got to a point that we are now buying at 177, 178 naira per litre. And within Lagos Metropolis, we are expected to sell at 170. And outside Lagos, 180 naira per litre. So what it implies that it is practically impossible for our members to sell at either 170 or 180 because currently landing cost in Lagos, if you had 177 plus 8 naira transport, including some other logistics expenses, is already over 180 naira. So, in a nutshell, and what is practicable is that we cannot sell below 190, 195, or 200, as the case may be, because when you talk about transportation, people that deliver in Lagos Metropolis is different from people that delivers in Ikorodu,
Okay.
Badagry axis.
Okay.
The price of transport is not the same. And when you move up to Ibadan, Oyo State, Kwara State, Osun State, Ekiti State, Ondo State, the transportation prices are different. So the price will now be determined by whatever the landing cost is, because at least we are expected to have at least at least minimum of margin of 8 naira because of all the other attendant costs in our filling station. We have to provide the security by ourselves. We have to use diesels. We have to pay salary. We have to pay government revenue. So practically, it is not possible. And the essence of coming to this studio today is to let the public know that if they see such a thing in our members' filling station, it is not our making. We are not, the independent marketers are not adding problems to what people are already feeling. So we want to let the masses know that it is not by our making. It is the circumstances that we find ourselves. Although we understand that there could be logistic problems within the NNPC, the IPMAN, MoMA, and everything. But since what we buy is what we are going to sell, so we want the public to realize this, that we are not the bane of this problem.
I'm worried because we still have subsidy in existence. Government is supposed to bridge a particular gap. So what is happening with regards to landing cost and all of that? I think, is it the depot owners? I don't want to say they're coming up with their own prices, or do they have their own challenges specifically that are also making them increase prices? Because I think it should be about 140 something naira at a time, or 50 something naira at a time.
Well, I don't want to speak for the tank farm owners.
Okay.
I know that they have their own challenges too.
Okay. Okay.
So, but I think they should come and explain what is that, because well, what they said to us is what we are talking about now. So if they have their own challenges, they should speak out. But our own challenges now is that we are buying at a very high cost, and we have no other option than to, because we have to be in business. We can't use the petrol station for another thing. And the only source is from the government. It's not a thing that I can go and look for product by myself. It has to be, it is federal government's product. And that is why they monitor what we sell, they control what we sell. So they should also control the buying price.
So it's not specifically a supply shortfall issue, because NNPC has come out. NDP, that's the former DPR too, and they have come out. That's the midstream regulatory agency. They've also come out to say that we have enough in stock, and that's what we keep hearing. But one argument is, if you have enough in stock, there will be no rush. Because people are seeing that there's a little bit of limitation, people don't have as much as they should have, or stations are hoarding, allegedly hoarding. That is why we see queues. So it's not really a supply issue.
Well, partially it's a supply issue.
Of course.
Because I can say with all sense of responsibility that my vehicle has been in a depot for like 3-4 days now. So they have not been able to access products. So definitely not all the depot has products. So definitely there is itches somewhere. Yes. Though they may have enough, then they should work on trucking out too. If they have, then they should let those who have the product do night shift, if truly the products are there.
When you look at this, it brings to mind the fear of subsidy removal, because I like to talk about that, because many say that if you look at our budget for the year 2023, government is talking about 11 trillion naira to subsidize for only PMS, which many have said that this is really sustainable. That is over half of the whole spending plan for that year. So if we're using only that to subsidize PMS, we know that there is a problem one way or the other. Now, does it not look like we are preparing for the days of subsidy removal already from now? Because if we start to buy at 250, 300 and all of that, do you think that subsidy removal is inevitable?
Well, subsidy, I said it here before, is that we are still postponing the evil days. The government has lacked that political way to do it, because what you cannot afford is what you cannot afford. They are just postponing the evil days. It will be done one day. I'm very sure that, because they can no longer sustain it. They are just managing the system. They can no longer sustain
How
it.
do we cushion the effect when it is removed?
So that's what we are saying, because if you are talking about subsidy now, the difference in pricing that people pay now, if they buy more than what's supposed to be, it's not going to government coffers. So it's going to some people's pockets. So you cannot call that a subsidy. But the truth of the matter is about when you talk about subsidy, there must be sincerity. You lose it here, you gain it somewhere. If the difference is being used in hospitals, in schools, and so on, something that affects the ordinary man on the street, I think people will appreciate it. But definitely, subsidy is inevitable.
Let's look at smuggling, because many will say that we've had issues with our daily consumption figures. That is not for us to debate here. The authorities and the regulators should be able to come up to tell us what do we really consume on daily basis. That's about our PMS consumption. But many will say that smuggling and moving of products out of this country is something that remains very attractive, and many will continue to do this business and get subsidy one way or the other. What's your take with regards to smuggling, and what can be done? How can we not totally address, but at least reduce it to its barest minimum?
Of course, I don't want to indict anybody
Yes,
here.
of course. Yes, of course.
But I know that without deceiving ourselves, I know smuggling happens. But we have security agencies that are charged with these responsibilities. And of course, like I said, I don't want to indict anybody.
Yes, yes.
But the government,
just looking at the process,
government know what to do. Something was discovered in the high sea now, how they tap into crude oil.
Crude oil.
So all these things are happening, and some people are charged with the responsibility of doing this. So they should beef up, because it is an organized crime, as I will put it, because it is not an easy thing to do.
At all.
It involves, it's a chain. It involves a lot of people to do it. So there's compromise somewhere. So I leave that with the people who are responsible for monitoring this thing. Because by that time, you have a lot of agencies that are on that line.
Because I think that is one of the ways to go when we talk about subsidy removal. First, let's know, what do we consume as a country on a daily basis, and not just some figures that just keep, generating comments and condemnations and commendations, whichever way, one way or the other. But let's move on. Back to IPMAN now. IPMAN, which is Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria. Your members operate filling stations in the nooks and crannies of this country.
Correct.
We see them in all of the corners, not all the major marketers now. The independent marketers do all of this process. But there's been an issue with the leadership of IPMAN, which I believe will affect the business one way or the other. What is happening internally with your association?
Okay, before I go into that, let me quickly appeal to the management of OFR that is in charge of petroleum activities, that we should be given a plain level ground to play, because that affects us a lot. For example, you see NNPC retail, they are selling it about 169. They are being given priority to load. They are given priority in price, whereas we sell into the same market. So I want to use this medium to appeal that it should also give us that opportunity of plain level ground to play. I can bet you that independent marketer will do better than any of these systems. So having said that, yes, as a family in IPMAN, and a very large organization for that matter, even a small family, if there's bound to be misunderstanding. I don't see it as a crisis. I see it as a misunderstanding, and of course, it has lingered for a very long time.
Yes, it has.
So, but I want to use the opportunity to appeal to our leaders to please, in the best interest of our members, in the interest of our business, they should do something about it and come together as one entity. Because if they do, I'm very sure that we will be highly recognized because we are a factor to be reckoned with. If IPMAN closes down all their stations today in Nigeria, we'll be in crisis. So I'm using this opportunity to plead to our leaders. And I'm very sure that I can say with all sense of responsibility that our leader in Southwest, Alagba Tuji, is working assiduously to ensure that the crisis in IPMAN is resolved one and for all. I'm aware of that. Mm-hmm. And I want to tell our member that in no distance time, everything will be resolved.
So back to scarcity issues. So are we going to, we're moving towards the Christmas season. And it's a very sensitive time. And many have commended this administration of not having issues around fuel queues and all of that until last year when we started gradually having this issue of scarcity and queues returning to our filling stations. Now, as we move towards the festive season, because we're going to be in November in a matter of days. What are you thinking? What are you telling Nigerians and what are you telling your members? Because I always like to ask you this question. Many of you are putting monies into this business. You've borrowed monies from banks, and when you have all of these hiccups and all of these challenges, how does it affect you? How do you move on? What's your message to Nigerians at this time and to your members?
Well, naturally, when we move from rainy season to dry season, demand is always very high. If you go back into memory lane on the records, you agree with me that during the dry season, the demand is always very high. Apart from that, Christmas time is always a Yuletide period where people move more than on a normal months. The Igbos goes to the east, the Hausas, even the Yorubas within the southwest goes to their various hometown. So naturally, the demand is very high. And I think NMPs always plan for this kind of period. But with what we are witnessing now, it is important for NMPC management and all the stakeholders to ensure that there is adequate supply, no matter what. And to tell you about what our members are going through, I must commend our members for their perseverance, even though we are suffering in silence. I must tell you, because the rate of borrowing now, that is the interest rate, is on the high side. Even assessing loan from bank is a bit difficult now. And of course, nobody can do this business without borrowing money from bank, because if you look at the products now, the price has been going up. Like diesel night it's more than 400%. What we were buying, a trailer load of AGO before was 6 million naira. Today it's 24, 25 million naira. So without a correspondence increase in the profit margin, it's a whole lot of challenges for us, especially the independent marketer who has limited capacity in terms of funding to do the business. So it's a trying period for us. We only hope that things will get better. And that is what has been keeping us, because that hope is what has been keeping us alive. But I must tell you that a lot of our members have gone bankruptcy. There is no gainsaying about that. It is true. I know. I've talked to people about it. It's even affecting my personal self. So it affects us, all of us, down there, because our margin, despite the fact that increase, and as if that is not enough, in fact, you have different government agencies coming to your filling station demanding for this and that, which you have to execute. So it's not a good time for us, I must say.
Well, we'll keep a tab and keep monitoring this as how it plays out. And all we want, fuel should be available, at least for now, before subsidy is totally removed. I must thank you, Mr. Dele Tajudeen. He is the Zonal Chairman, Southwest IPMAN. IPMAN is the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria. Thank you so much for speaking to us today on this very important topic of discuss.
Thank you, Tolu.